You've probably heard names like Redis, caching, rate limiting sessions, and queues being mentioned a lot in backend development. But what does Redis actually do? And why do so many fast and scalable applications rely on it behind the scenes? Today, I'll explain Redis in the simplest way possible and show you why it has become one of the most popular and important tools in modern software systems. Before Redis became so common, many applications depended entirely on their main database for almost everything. Whenever a user made a request, the application would usually go directly to databases like PostgreSQL, MySQL, or similar systems. If the app needed a user profile, it queried the database. If it needed session information, it queried the database again. If it needed the product details, it queried the database again. If it needed to count the requests or store temporary values, once again, it queried the database. At a smaller scale, this approach works perfectly fine. But as traffic increases and more users start using the product at the same time, this can quickly become a serious performance problem. Traditional databases are extremely good at storing permanent, reliable, and structured data. They are designed to keep your important information safe, consistent, and durable. But they're not always the best option when you need to serve millions of repeated ultra fast requests every second. The reason is that many application requests are asking for the same data again and again. For example, users may repeatedly request the same profile data, the same homepage content, the same trending products, or the same configuration values. If every single request goes all the way to the database each time, latency starts increasing, infrastructure costs rise, and the system becomes slower under the load. This is exactly where Redis changed everything. Redis is what we call an in memory data store. That means instead of relying mainly on disk storage for reads and writes, Redis keeps data inside RAM. And RAM is significantly faster than traditional disk based storage. Because of that, Redis can read and write data incredibly quickly, often in microseconds or milliseconds. And in real world applications, that speed difference can be massive. Think of it like this. Imagine your main database is a large warehouse. It stores everything safely, accurately, and permanently. But every time you need one common item, someone has to walk deep into the warehouse, locate it, and bring it back. That naturally takes time, right? Redis is like a smart shelf placed right next to the checkout counter. It keeps the most frequently needed items close by and instantly available. So instead of going back to the warehouse every single time, you simply grab it immediately. And that is exactly how many modern systems use Redis. The most common use case of Redis is caching. Caching simply means storing frequently requested data temporarily so future requests can be served much faster. For example, suppose a user opens their profile page. Instead of querying the database every time that page loads, the application first checks Redis. If the data is already present there, the response can be returned almost instantly. If the data is not there, the application fetches it from the database, stores a copy inside Redis, and then uses that cached version for future requests. This reduces database load significantly and improves response times. And that is one of the biggest reasons why fast apps use Redis. Redis is also widely used for sessions and login systems. When users log into an application, the system needs to remember who they are while they continue using the app. That session information needs to be checked quickly on many requests. Instead of repeatedly reading that data from slower database, many systems store active sessions inside Redis. This makes authentication checks much faster and more efficient. And when you're serving millions of users, even small speed improvements matter a lot. Suppose you run an API and want to allow only 100 requests per minute for each user. To do that properly, you need a very fast counter system that can update continuously in real time. Redis is perfect for this kind of workload. It can increment counters quickly, expire them automatically after a time window, and block abusive traffic instantly. That is why many APIs, login systems, and payment platforms rely on Redis for rate limiting. Another major use case is rate limiting. Suppose you run an API and want to allow only 100 requests per minute for each user. To do that properly, you need a very fast counter system that can update continuously in real time. Redis is perfect for this kind of workload. It can increment counters quickly, expire them automatically after a time window, and block abusive traffic instantly. That is why many APIs, login systems, and payment platforms rely on Redis for rate limiting. Redis is also commonly used for queues and background jobs. Not every task should happen during the user request itself. For example, sending emails, processing images, generating reports, or sending notifications can often be handled later in the background. And these tasks are usually placed into queues so workers can process them asynchronously. Redis is a popular choice for powering these job systems because it is lightweight, simple, and extremely fast. It is also excellent for real time features, things like gaming leaderboards, live counters, trending hashtags, online presence indicators, and chat systems often need extremely fast updates. Redis supports useful data structures such as sorted sets, lists, hashes, and sets. Because of that, developers can build these kinds of real time systems very effectively. That is one reason why many gaming, finance, and social media platforms rely heavily on Redis. So, why do companies love Redis so much? Because it solves real performance problems that appear as products grow. It reduces pressure on the main database. It speeds up application responses. It handles temporary and frequently changing data very well. It scales nicely as traffic increases. And it is relatively simple to integrate into existing systems. That combination made Redis one of the most widely adopted backend tools in the world. But Redis is not usually a replacement for your main database. It is not where most companies store all their permanent business data. Your primary databases like PostgreSQL or MySQL still remain the source of truth. Redis usually works beside them as a speed layer, permanent storage plus ultra fast access. That combination is incredibly powerful. If you are building a small project, you may not need Redis immediately. In many early stage products, a normal database is enough. But as traffic grows, users expect faster experiences and systems become more complex. So Redis starts becoming extremely valuable at that time. And at very large scale, it often becomes very essential. A lot of people think Redis is just a cache, but in reality, it is much more than that. It is a high speed building block used for performance, sessions, queues, counters, real time systems, and scalability. Once you understand that, you start noticing Redis almost everywhere in modern software architecture. So, if we had to summarize everything in one line, your database stores the truth, Redis delivers the speed, and that is exactly why every fast app uses Redis.